That was the Little River Band. The other guy, I haven't heard that song in years. What a trip down memory lane. I'm hoping I've got Dee Rendall on the line. Are you there, Dee?
I'm here, yes I am.
Wonderful, excellent. Now, just before we start, I wanted to introduce you. You're a psychic medium and spiritual healer with a natural gift to connect with spirit and no formal mentoring in this field. You've read for celebrities, worked on Sky Television, you've been a resident psychic on radio stations, and you've been demonstrating your gifts for over 25 years. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's good to hear. Now, I just wanted to ask you... what are your key areas of mediumship? Do you read cards or see auras, or how does it work for you?
I can see it all depends what subject you actually wish to look at, sweet, because I'm actually, let me just tell you a little bit about myself very briefly. I'm self-taught, so it's like in any expertise you could put a cup of tea leaves in front of me, I could read that. In being a reader, I'm able to read anything and everything. It's just the ability and the natural gift that I've got because I'm self-taught, you see.
And when did you first realise that you were perhaps a little different with some very special gifts?
When I was a young girl, I always used to think there was something under my bed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I did. But I used to think everybody had something under their bed, you know.
Yeah.
So it's only as you get older, the reality, you know, of the work that I now do, that the understanding comes in, that I did actually develop from quite a young age, although I may not have actually understood all of what was happening to me as a child.
Wow. And I've heard it said that everyone is psychic if they choose to tap into it. Is this something that you feel is true, and if so, can it be taught?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Everybody's got a psychic ability. And the only way I can make it in an easy format for you to understand, if you like, you know, you'll get a gut feeling, something will say to you, I don't know if I should go or I should do that. Your gut feeling will tell you, won't it?
Of course, yeah.
Right, that's your solar plexus working for you because you work from the energy from your stomach. That's where your psychic ability comes from. So, you know, any gut feelings that you get, if you get them and they're quite strong, you need to kind of follow them. But it does take many, many years of trust, if you like, to follow your own gut feeling, to understand that ability. But there are different tools that, you know, you can use to, what's the word I'm looking for, enhance your skills, if you like. This is why a lot of people use cards and things like that. But with me, spirit manifests in front of me. You know, I hear them, I see them, I feel them. So whatever comes in my mind, it's just kind of there with me. It's the only way I can explain it to you.
So you had to sort of learn by trial and error in a way?
Yeah, as we do in anything in life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'd say something to somebody and they'd go, well, how do you know that? And I used to think, well, I don't know how I knew that. But obviously now I do. Yeah. But again, that's a little bit of how it works.
Okay. What would you say to the hard-nosed skeptics out there, and are they missing out on the wonderful world of psychic mediumship?
Well, they are, but it's like I've come across quite a few skeptics in my time, and it's like it doesn't bother me if they're skeptics, because by the time I finish speaking to them, they're not, if that makes sense. But yeah, skepticism it's always very good, but it doesn't give the industry a good name when you've got people that don't believe. But my theory on that question is that it's just fear, because it's fear of the unknown. It's as though they don't want to know. In other words, that don't exist. I don't want to talk about that. Are you with me?
Yeah, I am. I do. I absolutely understand this, and I think that there's the world at this time are finally, I think, starting to open up to the possibilities of, well, what we could be involved in.
Oh, I totally agree, because, you know, I've been doing this for many, many years, and it's like I do a lot of the spiritual churches in the areas and things like that for them, because I still like to keep my hand in and you know, help those associations, if you like. But again, you're constantly developing and constantly learning every day. But it's like you've got to prove life after death, haven't you?
Absolutely. Now, look, I was going to ask you, do spirits compete, for want of a better word, with each other to get access to people like yourself in the physical world? For example, will the stronger spirits get through while the softer or weaker ones get sort of pushed to the side?
I have experienced that, so that's a really good question. So, yeah, there has been times when I've been out doing stage work and I've had a spirit that's been very strong with me, and I've had to ask that spirit to step back to allow other spirits to come through. But as a medium, you've got to be firm with them. It's like you've got to be in control of it, not it in control of you. There's a difference. And if you're in control of what you're doing, then you're in control of them, so to speak.
I guess that's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's kind of like you'd be sort of being quite strict with them, like, no, you're not coming. How do you do that? You obviously have learned over the years to tune them out. I mean, actually, that was my next question. Was it really difficult for you to come to terms with your gift? For example, learning to tune them out when you want some privacy.
Well, at one point, going back in my early development, it was constant. My head was switched on like a light bulb, and it was just constant.
Yeah.
But then, through my development and my years of learning, obviously I had to learn to control that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I teach as well. I used to run a class for 3 years, but I'm not doing that at present because I really don't have time at the moment. But again, it is all about learning and just bringing out the inner ability in anybody. You could even do it if you so chose.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that what a shame it is, because why I'm interested in so many different areas, because I've had a few things happen in my life myself, and things have come to me and then they've actually happened, and I think to myself, it actually made me realise what a shame it is that we don't. I thought to myself, I mean, even when I was a little kid, I used to sort of hear things and see things and predict. I could say to my mum, I remember I used to say, oh, someone's coming to the door. And she'd look up and say, no, there's no one there, love. And I'd say, no, they'll be here at 1:30 or they'll be here at 3 o'clock. And 9 times out of 10, they would be there. And it was as if I could see them before they could arrive. But it made me realise that didn't go down but very well, by the way. But it made me realise what a shame it is that if we could get these little kids who are exhibiting these types of gifts and train them, how wonderful would humanity in terms of growing?
Well, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? But the thing is, everybody would know what everybody was up to, wouldn't they?
Which might not be a bad thing.
You know what I mean? You all know what everyone's up to.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Look, have you ever been in a situation, say, for example, at a restaurant or somewhere like that, and a pesky spirit wants to get through to someone, say, sitting at a table next to you?
All the time it happens to me.
How frustrating.
All the time. I'll sit there, and my daughter will look at me, and she can obviously tell.
Yeah.
Like if I'm out for a meal with my daughter or something, she says, Mum, you're not out to work, Mum. Because my face must change.
Yeah.
Because I go off, my mind goes off.
Yeah.
Because it's like there. And it's like, it all depends whether I feel that person is approachable.
Yeah.
If they are, there have been times where I've gone, excuse me, I know you probably think I'm a bit bonkers, but I've got your mum here and she's telling me and that person will sit and listen to me. But I'm also apt at knowing who is approachable and who isn't, if that makes sense.
What's an example of sort of one of the more sort of out there type experiences that you've had when sort of making predictions for sort of people, and I guess you've had a lot of very shocked customers and clients?
Absolutely loads. I don't really know where to start in terms of a story to tell you. It's like, I was at a supermarket checkout once. There was a gentleman in front of me, and I looked at him, and I looked at what he had in his basket, and I went, excuse me, but you haven't got your beans and milk. And he looked at me and he went, how did you just know that? He went, thank you. And he went off to get his beans and milk. Something as stupid as that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Have you ever been approached or have you done any work with the police or anyone like that?
I have, but I can't disclose any of it. Sweet.
That's fine. But I was going to say one of my favourite programs is the Sensing Murder. I don't know if you've got it over here.
Yeah, we have. It's brilliant, isn't it?
It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Now, I wanted to also ask you, can I just tell you a quick little story just about coincidences, and because I've got a question that comes out of it.
Go on.
My father passed away, 2004. And he had this number that we always associated with him, the number of 303. And that was the bus that he would get on. It was a bunch of things that we used to associate this number 303 with him. Anyway, when he passed away, a few days later, went to the crematorium and all that. And then afterwards, we were feeling a bit mopey afterwards. And I said, look, how about we do something that he would like to do? We'll go to one of his favourite restaurants and have the lunch that he would like to have. And that will be our little sort of send-off. So we went to his favourite restaurant, which was on the beach, and he loved fish and chips and Coca-Cola. It was just one of those things. Anyway, so we went and ordered the lunch, and when they read out our order was ready and it came over the little speaker system, it said, and this is so crazy, they said, "Customer 303, your number is up." And he used to crack corny jokes and do things like that all the time. He also passed away on the 4th of the 4th, 2004, around about 4 a.m. in the morning. Now, my question is, what is the deal with synchronicity and coincidences?
Nothing's a coincidence in my mind, right? Because when we work with spirit work in a weird and wonderful way. Now, your dad would have been around you that day, and that number was called as proof and evidence to yourself that he was with you all.
Yeah.
So nothing's ever I don't believe in coincidences. Do you know what I mean? And it's like spirit can leave you lots of different signs that they're about and things like that. It's like I was doing a huge event one night, and I said to Spirit, "Can you please give me a sign? You know, how's tonight going to be?" Get in the car, put the radio on, and that song came on. Tonight's going to be a good night. Do you see?
Yeah.
You know, it's very synchronised in the way that it works. But if you weren't familiar to pick that number up and store that in your mind, your dad wouldn't have been able to have worked with you with it. But obviously you are, so he did.
Yeah, it was really weird because I remember when we were on our way to the restaurant.
You've got to finish writing your book, by the way, love.
Sorry, what was that?
You've got to finish writing your book.
Oh, my God.
All right?
That's so crazy. You know, I'm doing my final edit and I keep putting it off.
Yeah. Complete the book.
How do you have what's going to happen? Sometimes I think to myself, what is the bloody point? You know, there's so much competition out there. You put it out there, fine, I will put it out there, but I think to myself sometimes, who's going to read it?
I'd read it, darling.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, something with American printers with you with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, America comes in quite strong around it, and you write songs too, don't you?
I do. My goodness.
Right. But is there a song that's incomplete?
There's an album that I'm trying to do.
Right, I want the third song on the album.
Actually, it's called FDNWO, which is just letters, basically an acronym.
Yeah, but it's the third song on the album that is significant. It does need a little bit of fixing, that album.
You know, this is so strange that you mention this because strangely enough, was it yesterday or the day before, I've just moved into a new place and I moved house and I'd taken the third day off because I thought I'm not doing anything after I've moved house. I'm so bloody tired. And I was just wandering around my new place by myself because my housemate was at work and I had my guitar there and I just sat down and I actually... You wouldn't believe this. I just sat down, put my phone on the bench, and just pressed record on it, and recorded a whole bloody what I would call an album in one sitting.
There you are.
That's so weird. And I haven't played that guitar. Well, I haven't played in quite a while because I've just been caught up doing other things. And I sat down and something's been saying to me, just keep going and keep going. And I sat down and I didn't mean to. I actually forgot that the phone was recording. And then I got to the end and it was an hour's worth of songs.
Well, there you are. But there's definitely something.
I'll look at the third song on that because I've just done a recording.
Look at the third song. It might need a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah.
Because I want to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's something about that third song.
Wow.
But you've got to keep faith in yourself, Willow. Because your dad was actually quite a spiritual man.
Yeah, he was.
Very spiritual. Yeah. And who's John or Joseph or both?
I've got an uncle, John, my mum's brother.
Mm-hmm. But is he in spirit world, though?
I don't think so. Well, I don't know him, but I think, actually, funnily enough, he married an American woman. He's in America.
Right. Maybe that's where you need to go then, where he might have connections to assist you in what you're doing, because the work that you do is fantastic. So you've got to utilise your own growth. So basically, I think Spirit have got me on the phone tonight to basically give you a little push.
Oh, that's so funny. Thank you. That's really interesting because you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because my mum left... she's British, and she left here in 1962 to go to Australia, and she wasn't even properly of age. She was under 21, and her parents had to sign for her to leave the country. And she came back. I've only been in the UK for a bit over a year, and last year I got her out here for the first time in nearly 55 years. And I took her up to her home, her village just near Doncaster, and it's her brother who's John. And it's America and John keep coming to mind, and I'm like, I wouldn't even know how to find this guy.
Right, well,
I could go to the little village and see if I can look up in their library or something like that.
Yeah, just send the thought out, sweetie, to Spirit Well, because you'll be surprised
wow.
How they'll assist you.
That's
in relation
incredible.
to that. And I also want to give you an umbrella as well. I didn't intend reading you, actually, but you got me started now.
Sorry.
But I want to give you an umbrella. Now, when I look at that, that's also symbolic for you. Because when you look at an umbrella as a symbol, it shelters you from the rain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. But you are under quite a big spiritual network of an umbrella, sweetheart.
Okay.
All right? But you do need to start eating a bit better,
Yes. Oh, my God, I can't believe you just said that. On my way over tonight, I was thinking to myself, you've got to improve your diet. You've got to eat more nutrients.
Yeah. Well, that's your dad. Who's Mary?
Mary? I'm not sure.
Ask Mum, love.
Okay. Mary.
But you see how spirit work. You see, we were just having a little conversation there.
That's so strange.
And do you see how it just comes?
Yeah. That's so strange.
It is, isn't it? It's amazing how it works. It just kind of comes. So that's just a little example of how spirit works, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, spirit can manifest in front of you. I've seen them in the physical as well.
Wow.
So I stayed in a haunted hotel, actually.
Oh, my God.
But that's for another day, that story, because it's too long.
Is it true, though, that these spirit or ghosts or whatever it is it true that they can... I've heard stories where people said they bumped into something that felt physical, but there was no one there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it can be a physical feeling?
Yeah. It can.
Oh, my God, that brings up some pretty terrifying ideas.
I mean, when I first experienced things like that, I'll be honest with you, in my work, it was a bit scary. It was like, whoa.
That would scare me.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, do I really want to do this? But, and then, as I explained previously, because I'm self-taught, it's like, I'm of the understanding that spirit world, and it's very important that you remember this, they never, never, never give you anything that you think mentally you can't cope with.
Okay.
Otherwise, they won't put it in front of you, sweetheart.
Yeah. It's interesting you should say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought that myself. I thought, well, they wouldn't do it because it's bloody tough sometimes. Sometimes I just think, what the hell am I doing? And how did I even wind up here? And, you know, and I think, well, this wouldn't be happening if they didn't think you couldn't handle it.
Well, this is what I mean. They'll never put anything in front of you that they feel that you can't do. And I've learned that over the last 30 years in working with it. I mean, I was very, very young. I was only in my early 20s when I lost my father to spirit world.
Right.
So it's like, I suppose because I wanted to reach out to my dad,
Yeah.
it made me safe in some respects,
Yeah.
working psychically, because I knew you were there looking after me.
Mm.
So you take the comfort from that, and you must do the same, young lady.
Mm. Yeah, there's a lot there, isn't there?
Absolutely.
It feels like a big thing, like this big thing. Like this is very strange because actually I never feel like I'm alone. This is why I can spend stupid amounts of time on my own, and I always feel like I'm just never on my own.
We're never on our own, and I just wish, really, that people could just climb in my head for even just 2 minutes and just see the wonderment of spirit world in what I'm able to see. And, you know, I'm blessed that it's a gift because, you know, that's how we look at it. But then I also look at it in another way. Is it a gift? Because I see too much of everything all the time.
Yeah.
Where does the normality come in my life?
Yeah.
You know, so it has got its falls and against with it. But as I said to you earlier, you've got to be in control of it and not it in control of you. And that's what makes a big difference.
Yeah. So it's a blessing and a curse.
Have you started drawing yet?
The what, sorry?
Have you started drawing yet?
Not yet, but again, this is strange you should bring this up. I keep thinking to myself just recently, I've got to get one of those big drawing pads and go, because I used to love going around when I lived in Australia in various cities, and I'd go and draw pictures of the buildings.
Yeah. Something with your drawing and your artwork.
Oh, wow.
You need to get doing with that because it needs to be in your book.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah. Get your sketching done and your drawings in your book.
Wow, I hadn't even thought of that.
See?
That makes perfect sense.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, isn't it amazing that you've got all this stuff right in front of you and you can't even bloody see it?
Well, it's just how it works, love, isn't it? You know
It
what
is.
I mean? It's like, you know, people say to me, oh, my God, Dee, you're amazing. How do you know this? How do you know that? But at the end of the day, I still have to live in the real world.
Yeah.
And I'm still also a real person.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course, with feelings and your whole world that you need to.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to ask you. Where do psychics go for a bit of support?
I don't actually.
Isn't that crazy?
You just kind of deal with what you deal with within yourself. Obviously, you have your own friends or whatever, but it's like, you know, if there's something that maybe I don't understand psychically, because I'm not God, I'm not always that I know everything.
Yeah.
I'll ask the advice of another psychic.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Do you know? But
Yeah.
I end up actually telling them.
Oh no, and you do it again, yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really, really a fascinating subject. It's like there's so much to it that you could have different subjects on, you know, in different things.
Yeah, it's such a massive area that spreads off into all these different realms.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does.
I just wanted to ask you. I'm going to have to wind it up soon because my time goes so fast. It just spins by. But I wanted to ask you, and it's perfectly fine if you don't want to answer this question. But the world is entering into some very, very strange times now, and it just seems like everything that we've been dealing with, basically forever. But it seems to all be coming to a head. Sort of now. Is that something that, well, that's what I sort of see and feel, but is that something that how would you sort of interpret this time that we're going through?
I can't think of the right word to actually say, in relation to it, but I know exactly what you're referring to, because everything is just so changeable. If you look at all the wars and everything that's out there today, and everything that's going on, there's just a big shift in many things, isn't there?
Yeah. Big shift in people movement and consciousness and technology and everything.
Yeah, there is.
It's like this sudden acceleration.
Well, there's going to be lots and lots of changes. I feel lots of changes in government, although it's there now. We know there's changes there. You've got the presidential election in America and places like that. But again, I just feel there's going to be a shock factor that manifests itself.
Yeah, this is something that
But I also feel the government interfere with the weather. So you've got me started on another subject.
No, go ahead. It's late night Friday night. Who cares?
But I do. I feel they experiment with the weather.
Yeah.
Because we didn't used to have weather like this. Now, if you think about the predictions going back to Nostradamus, if you like, where he said the world was going to come to an end in 2012 and it would go out with fire and water. Look at all the storms and the bad weather that we've experienced over the last few years.
It's just crazy.
It's madness, isn't it? So it was there. So how did Nostradamus know to predict that?
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah. And so, it's like the Book of Revelations. It's almost like it's all sort of happening.
Well, my belief is our lives were already written out in a book. As an example, it would have been written in your book of life that Dee would be speaking to you today, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's what my belief is. But I could talk to you all day long about different subjects, what my views are. But yeah, but it's been fantastic anyway.
Yeah.
To speak to you.
You as well. And just on that last point that you made, it feels like it's like a pre-written script. Like we're just, like, you know Shakespeare when he said the world is a stage and every man and woman is an actor?
Yeah.
And it feels like, it actually does feel like it's a pre-written script, like we're all just playing out our roles.
Well, we are. I totally agree with that. But it's like I always say to everybody, it's like, as an example, when I go out on stage, if I was a musician, I'd know what songs I was going to sing, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But I walk on that stage blind. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth until that energy comes to me.
Wow.
And then I give that script.
Wow, it's really spontaneous.
So I don't get a script, if that makes sense. You know, but it is a script because it's written.
That's amazing. All right, look, where can we find you online if we want to come and get a reading?
Well, you can go to my website, which is www.deerendall.co.uk, or you can find me quite over the internet, actually.
All right, that's fantastic. It's really fascinating. I've had such a great chat to you. I didn't expect that to happen. I had all my questions laid out, and I was like, okay, I'll just keep it really straight and just get the answers, and we'll just do a straightforward old interview, and it just went off into other realms, which is actually really good.
Well, I didn't expect it to, but you see, that's Dee, that's me. You see, I can't keep my mouth shut. When you say it out, it comes.
We need more loud-mouthed women. That's what we need.
Well, you've got one here.
Wonderful. Look, thanks for coming on the show, Dee. I've had so much fun.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure, Willow.
And I'll definitely keep in touch with you.
All right, darling. You have a lovely weekend.
All right, you too. Take care.
Bye for now, love.
Bye.
Bye.
And that was the rather incredible Dee Rendall. What an amazing interview with that lady. Just such a lovely, lovely, warm, kind-hearted person, and just such a beautiful spirit herself. So that was a bit surprising. Kind of knocked my socks off right there, which I'm pretty damn happy about. You're listening to Willow Willis on Fab Radio International. This is Steppenwolf Magic Carpet Ride.